And actually, all the married couples would be interested to know that Ruth is speaking to her mother-in-law when she speaks these words, Naomi. And Naomi has just lost not only her husband, but she's also suffered through the death of her two sons, her only two children, two sons. And Ruth is married to one of her sons. And Naomi has just told, Naomi and Ruth live in modern-day Jordan. It's called in the Old Testament Moab. And Naomi has just come to Ruth and told her, I want you to remarry and learn to limit your grief and live with another man. And I'm going to live with Jesus and the Jews in Bethlehem, and I want you to stay here in Jordan and find a man and live with him. And this story that Shannon told today is the story of Ruth's response to her mother-in-law. She says, don't entreat me, don't ask me not to follow you, because I love you. And wherever you go, and wherever you live and lodge, I will go, and I will live. Because your people, the Jews, and Ruth was pagan, your new people, the Jews, and your God will be my God. And when you die, I will be there, and I will die. Ruth became famous in the Old Testament circles as a really famous convert to Judaism because of this moving story about her loyalty and her love for her mother-in-law. And it impresses me tonight that you all have shown the same level of loyalty and love to Aunt Karen and to Milt and to the small family and the Conrad family. And I just want to thank you for that. This story is also famous in World War II. It's really famous because in World War II, when the Americans were not engaged in the war, before they were engaged, Churchill was pleading with America to come in and save them from Nazi Germany. And Roosevelt sent his most trusted advisor, this brilliant man, Harry Hopkins, who was aged, and he was ill, he was infirm, but he was brilliant. And he showed up at number 10 Downing Street and had dinner, like we're having dinner tonight. And at the end of dinner, like I'm doing now, Hitler ambushed him and stood up and said, well, Mr. Hopkins, you know, you've said all the right things and done all the right things, but the British people are desperate. We want to marry America, and we want to go shoulder to shoulder against the Nazis. And so when you go home and talk to Roosevelt, what will you tell him about our marriage proposal? And Harry Hopkins was caught off guard by these challenges from the Churchill, and he sat awkwardly in his seat for about several moments. And then he rose, and he said to Churchill, wherever you go, and wherever you live, the British people, the American people will go. And we will live there. And we will lodge with you. And because our people will be with your people. And we will worship the same God. And when you die, we will die. And we will do it together. And Churchill openly wept at his seat, sitting like you are tonight. He wept because his mother was an American, and his mother was also an Old Testament scholar, just like Harry Hopkins' mother. And it was one of the only times that Churchill ever wept in public, but he wept openly because he was so moved that Harry Hopkins had cited this very poignant, moving story about loyalty and love. And so I feel like Winston Churchill tonight. I don't look like him, but I feel like him because I have been so moved. And I know Susie and Milton and Kathy and I have all been so moved by the commitment that each and every one of you all have shown to our children. And, you know, I know most of you, and those of you that I don't know personally, I know the stories behind every face. because I've heard them all from Milton and Susie and Milton. So I know everybody either personally or vicariously through the Smalls. And I know the commitment that you all have made of loyalty and of love to Ann Curran and to Milton. And I just want you to know how much it means to Susie and to Milton and Kathy and I and Ann Curran and Milt that you all have such a beautiful ministry of showing up and showing your loyalty and your love to our children. Thank you. And I want to tell you how thrilled we are. And my toast tonight is a simple one. I have 3 toasts. The first is to Ann Curran and Milt. We are thrilled to merge these 2 tribes together, these 2 people, the Smalls and the Conrad tribes. And the Conrads are absolutely thrilled to have a Carolina boy in the family. And I know on good report from Susan and Milton that the Smalls are absolutely thrilled to have a new Carolina girl in their family. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my toast is Mr. and Mrs. Milton Small, our new Carolina boy and our new Carolina girl. My second toast is to the 3rd most important person in Ann Curran's life. 3rd most important person. After her mother and after her husband, her new mother-in-law, Susie Small. My toast is to Susie Small. The 3rd most important person in Ann Curran. And my toast is this. I hope and pray that Ann Curran and Susie will have as close a relationship as Ruth and Naomi had and as I had with my mother-in-law, and I'm sure they will. Here's to Susie Small, ladies and gentlemen. And my last toast is to the woman that I have adored for 49 years. Where is Mary Minor? Stand up, Mary Minor. This is, along with Franny Powell, this is one of Ann Curran's godmothers. And she got not only one Barger girl, but both Barger girls, Kathy and her Jennifer. She was the matchmaker for both of their marriages. And when I was an unsuspecting 17-year-old, I had what they called a blind date. I call it a blind ambush. And I have never been happier to be ambushed in my entire life. Tonight, we are not only celebrating the marriage and the sacrament that we observe today of Milton and Ann Curran. We are celebrating everybody's marriage, okay? Everybody in this tent. Because I got to tell you, I believe in marriage. Because marriage is the best thing that ever happened to me. Because when you marry the right woman, she makes you a better man. And I have loved and adored Kathy Barger Conrad from the moment Mary Minor introduced me to her. I have loved and adored her every minute of every day from 16 to 65, from November the 19th of 1968 until tonight. And my 3rd toast is to a woman that my father-in-law said when I asked for permission to marry, he said, "John, this girl is special. And he closed the door to the kitchen, and there were 4 doors. He closed all 4. He said, John, this girl is special. He said, John, this girl is special. I said, well, Phil, I know that. That's why I want to marry her. But you don't understand. This girl is special. And he was right. It's taken me 49 years to appreciate how special she is. She looks as good to me tonight as she did at the bonfire on homecoming on November the 19th of 1968. He said she was special. We call her Special K. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you first, Special K. There's a special J and a special B and a special E in every guy's life in this tent tonight. And I expect every one of you to celebrate your special, celebrate marriage, celebrate the sacrament of marriage of Ann Curran. Have a great time.